Locati here. Leveling is one of the most daunting tasks for new players in PoE, so for this season, Keepers of the Flame, we're going to have a leveling guide for every single class in PoE, as well as videos for select classes and ascendancies. The POBs will be listed below in a Google Docs file. Most of these leveling guides will correspond with an in-game build guide for each class and ascendancy, but the in-game builds will be featured in a separate video so that you can choose how you want to level and then choose how you want to play the game. For now, let's get into it. This will be right after our meal. We have a couple of iron rings, some boots, a helm, a wand, found a crew reward, which is nice. This gives us access to shield charge, kinetic bolt with volley, and flame wall, as well as sniper's mark and frostblink. Volley makes kinetic bolt a very strong clearing skill. And your shield charge actually hits for a reasonable amount of damage as well. Now we did actually just pick up these gloves so we can also equip Blood and Sand. Blood and Sand is going to give us in Blood Stance more damage on our shield charge. Ideally we want 2 red sockets so that we can also use our Devouring Totem. Because if we don't find another red socket, we'll have to switch over to Devouring Totem for bossing. But it's just for Brutus, basically. Always pick up every iron ring. You want to be able to transmute those or essence them. Flat damage is very important. Remember, you're going to be using momentum for a single target, so switch that on the boss. And then we're going to be using decoy totem as well. Easy peasy. Merveil time, and we did switch to added cold damage instead of volley. Make sure we're keeping our totemy down. Good damage. Still maintains relatively good clear for the adds, even with added cold damage instead of volley. You do want to make sure you do have some cold res going into Merveil always, but very solid. Quick look at our passive tree here. We scrolled around through Deep Wisdom, Arcanist Domain, Impractical Application, Wand Mastery with Wand Slinger, and Wand Mastery with Fusillade. And that's where we're going to be at the end of Act 2. We did manage to get a 4-link off of the vendor, but it had red, so not ideal. We still have a crew reward, but crew reward, like 752 DPS versus 740 DPS for just a generic blue amulet. It's not an important item. And then our wand is still just a blue wand. And just rest of our gear is very generic. We do probably want to take volley off and get some single target in here. So we'll move added cold damage back into our wand. Remember to sniper's mark the target. Sniper's mark is nice because you only ever have to cast it once. And then keep your firewall down when you can. Very nice. We are using still Kinetic Bolt, added lightning damage support, added cold damage support, or volley, depending on whether you're bossing. And then Cruelty is probably the best support gem for us right now, because we're heavily split between Fizz and Elemental damage. And so as a red gem, this is probably the best option. And we are at Dominus now, finishing off our wand wheel up here. Moving towards some additional spell damage right here. We're going to go ahead and take our increased mana reservation of skills here, which won't do anything for us right now, but will be important later on. Gear, we got an okay wand. Everything else is still really bad, but it's okay. We're flying along. Dominus! Who needs gear when you have decoy totems? Don't forget about your decoy totems. Touch that god.
This world is an illusion, exile.
Don't forget about your sniper's mark. We kind of forgot that on Dominus over there, otherwise he would have died a lot faster. Well, approximately 30% faster. Boom. Easy. It's aqueduct time. We're back to volley on our kinetic bolt. And we just use flame dash and shield charge for movement. I really haven't gotten a helm that has 2 green slots yet. I would love to have faster attacks and momentum on my shield charge, but the vendors are the vendors. But volley makes for really solid clear with kinetic bolt. Not the lightning and shock resisting guys. Make sure you collect all your essences in the campaign. They are important for getting gear. On to Act 4. Alrighty, we are into Act 4 now. We have made a few adjustments to our passive tree, picked up Life Mastery with Core Preparation, and Heart and Soul for increased life. We also have instability for more power charges. We have power charges from crits and from kills. And so power charges are just one way that we can scale our damage on the character early on. We have Spellslinger with Sniper's Mark and Flame Wall. I'm only running Sniper's Mark on here just because I was feeling lazy and didn't want to try to reroll another green socket so that we can utilize it somewhere else. And I didn't want to make any changes, like we have our Decoy Totem, faster attacks, momentum, and shield charge movement here. And we did get a Evasion ES4 link so that we have Kinetic Blast with added cold damage, added lightning damage, and faster attacks. As far as the build goes, we're still running very smoothly through everything from an AoE perspective. We are still working on single target, but single target is looking much better. Kinetic Blast has less of a need for a volley because of the explosion from the projectile Kinetic Blast, and so we're just running a single projectile. Now, we will ideally later on in the game be running multiple projectiles, but we'll be doing that once we have access to both multi-shot and wand mastery, because you always want to run at least 3 projectiles if you're going to run multiple projectiles. 2 projectiles inevitably will cause your attack to split and make it difficult to hit targets in front of you. Same goes for 4 is not ideal, but it's a little bit better than 2. Once you're over 5 projectiles on attack, it no longer really matters. They're close enough together in the spread. But generally speaking, you want to try to keep an odd number of projectiles on any of your projectile skills. Shield Charge and Flame Dash are primary forms of mobility here. It is important that you keep either Flame Dash or Frost Blink available so you can dodge out of things that you don't want to charge through with Shield Charge. And then, of course, Decoy Totem is still carrying our tankiness because we are still low on life, but we have reasonable resistances. Resistances, we did do a Lyra for resistances, as well as the passive node on our tree that gives us max res. And so that makes it very easy to get your resistances up if you have both of those available. No. Ah!
Let us see if you truly understand what it means to be Nightmare. I gave my life
Going down, Malagaro.
Accept the gift of immortality.
Guess we need to kill the heart.
Is the true why? Are you so in love with death?
All done with Act 4. Now, after Act 4, from 5 through 10, your core build is going to remain mostly unchanged. We are going to pick up our Ascendancy now because we have access to golems. We are going to run Elementalist with golems through the campaign. And we're going to switch over to Occultist later on in mapping once we no longer need the golems to carry the character. So let's take a look at the POB. Zaro time. We did remove our wand points here so we can get golem commander since we have access to golems now. We are running a stone golem and a flame golem, and then we will be running a lightning golem after that. But first, we need to blast Zaro.
Receive your sentence. Die for the Empire.
That is our always rush the altar, lest ye be disconnected. While you're here, go ahead and grab a blue gem, like this flame wall that we're not going to use, and dig for kinetic blastic clustering. Kinetic blastic clustering is not a requirement for the build, but it is something that is not a bad second alternative option to run on the build. But for now, we are going to go ahead and pick up Liege of the Primordial, which will allow our golems to be immortal, give us access to another golem, giving us a lightning golem, which solves our mana regeneration that we need, gives us some additional attack speed and cast speed as well, which is always good to have. This will let us drop clarity so that we can open up our mana reservation, and then we can look at making some changes to the auras that we run on the character there. These three golems are going to be incredibly powerful for you as you progress through the game. The stone golem in the campaign, as long as you keep it leveled, makes you virtually immortal. Alright, we are finally at the end of Act 5. We have picked back up our wand nodes up here. We've added in Arcane Sanctuary for the increased spell damage and the block, and we're moving towards Disciple of Forbidden. Survivability is good. We did get a shield that has a block on it, so we do have both attack block and spell block available to us. Our resistances are looking okay. And 1500 life looks good. We are running a 4-link on Kinetic Blast now. We are running Sacred Wisps, Kinetic Blast, Return Proj, and Fork support. We are using the Sniper's Mark with Tornado to take full advantage of the Fork and the Return Proj for nice overlapping AoEs on our Kinetic Blast. And we are running a Stone Golem, Lightning Golem, Ice Golem, and Flame Golem. So let's go ahead and kill some Kitava. It is a very mana-hungry build as it sits, so I'm running both an Enduring Flask and a regular flask. Thanks to our golem, we are very, very tanky. Now you'll notice that there is kind of a dead zone directly on top of you whenever you're using Tornado Fork Return Proj. So make sure you keep your targets in a range where your overlaps can effectively hit them. Now, realistically, versus Katava, he's so big that it doesn't really matter. But versus smaller targets, you want to make sure you're not keeping them too close to you. Otherwise, you're going to reduce the amount of overlaps you get. So you see we stand just a smidge away from this heart so we can get more overlaps onto it. Goodbye, Katava. And the Brine King goes. I hate that aura. It's tank and wand. As far as changes to our skills, we haven't made any for Act 6. And we likely won't make too many changes from Act 6 to 10. Passive tree is also mostly the same. We have just continued to expound on picking up our important damage passives. So Disciple of Forbidden, Charge Mastery, we're moving towards Prism Weave right now. We did move this over to damage leeches life and damage leeches mana to help support our mana costs and increase our life recovery. And all of our skill links and auras are unchanged. The Roth. To Act 7. Act 7. Kill Arcali. No real changes to the build. We just picked up the other Wand Mastery. That gives us the power charge on crit chance, which we need for bossing and maintaining power charges. Boss DPS is still good. Clear is amazing. Mobility is good. We are still a quasi-melee because of the way Tornado and Fork interact. The explosions are always going to be closer to the target. But unless it's a very large target, you still have to maintain a small distance. But of course, our Kali's massive, so you can basically stand anywhere near her. We finished out Prism Weave with Wand Mastery here. Now we're going to move towards Throat Seeker. Act 8. Right, we are now at the end of Act 8, moving on to Act 9. Not a lot of changes on the build, as is the usual this late in the campaign. Your passive tree will mostly remain the same. We are currently in a boring travel node situation, getting to Whispers of Doom so that we can take advantage of curses, so that we can improve our single target DPS. But as you can see, our single target DPS is phenomenal, survivability is phenomenal, clear is phenomenal. So the build is working out very, very nicely, especially in a leveling situation where you're running on limited access to gear. We're still running a 4-link on Kinetic Blast. We have not invented a 5-link yet, and so it is still Fork and Return Proj and Kinetic Blast and Sacred Wisps. We're still running the same 4-link as we were earlier. No changes there, but the damage is great. You do want to make sure that you keep your wand updated as you go. If you are on Trade League, you want to purchase a high LE DPS wand with either attack speed or crit suffix, or an open suffix that you can craft on attack speed. We are a crit-based build, so crit is important to us. But at this point in the passive tree, we don't have a whole lot of support for crit coming in on the passive tree. So you don't have to stress too much about the wand. You just want as much flat elemental DPS as you can get on the wand. So ideally a double LE DPS wand, or a single LE DPS wand with attack and crit with an open prefix so that you can benchcraft on another elemental DPS. But that's where most of your damage is going to come from. The rest of your gear is pretty much constrained to survivability, so you're looking for life, resistances. There goes Corrupted Blood. Be careful about that. We just ate our entire flask to stay alive through that Corrupted Blood. Blood Aqueducts. That'll get you. And so the rest of your gear is primarily constrained to survivability. So resistances, life. We are sticking primarily to either evasion ES or armor ES in our gear, because we do want to have some additional defenses here to give us a little bit of survivability. But as a non-primary armor character, primary evasion character, our defenses are relatively low, and you'll just rely most of the time on a larger life and ES pool and tremendous amounts of range damage to kill everything. On to Act 9. Trinity! Come out wherever you are. End of Act 9. Again, not a lot of changes. We did take up Whispers of Doom, but I've been lazy, and I haven't actually gone and picked up a curse yet to cast. But normally you would have Elemental Weakness right here to hit the boss with. Be better than me. Peace out, Trin. Act 10 next. Alright, Katava time. On our passive tree, we went ahead and picked up Shield Mastery and Arcane Guarding, which puts our defenses at 45% block and 56% spell block, which is very solid for the campaign. Moving down towards Purity of Flesh, which will give us access to Safeguard and Stormweaver. If your wand is not a Cold Lightning hybrid, and maybe you got a Fire Lightning hybrid or a Fire Cold hybrid, you can go over to Snowforged over here instead. And so just the hybrid elemental mastery node you take is going to be based on the kind of wand that you have access to. And then if you get a better wand that you can use Snowforged with, you unspec Stormweaver and you come over here and you spec into Stormforged. And you just use these nodes as travel nodes to get over to it. Our items, we did get a 6-link so that you can see you'll be using Return Proj, faster attacks, crit damage, wisps, fork support, and Kinetic Blast on your 6-link. If you only have a 5-link, then I would pull faster attacks. If you only have a 4-link, then I would pull increased critical damage. For now, let's go finish off the campaign here. Remember, we did pick up Whispers of Doom, so we have an additional curse. Make sure you do curse the target. Curses have a reasonable duration, so you don't have to curse very frequently. Gotta love immune phases. Immune phases make the game so much more fun and engaging. I don't know what this game would be like without all these glorious immune phases. And Act 10 dead. Kinetic Blast, obviously phenomenal clear, but surprisingly good single target in the campaign. As long as you focus on keeping a wand with 2 elemental damage types on it, as well as some attack speed, and make sure that you get a 4, 5, or 6 link as quickly as you can. We will include a build guide on how to scale this through maps with an early mapping, mid mapping, and late mapping version of the build as well. But as a leveling guide, let's go ahead and take a look at the POE in a little bit more detail. See y'all soon. And last but not least, we're going to kind of showcase what the build can do getting out of the campaign. So we're level 69. We did take time to invest in some sort of 6-link. You should be able to find these corrupted for 10 to 15 div, day 1, day 2. If you only run a 5-link, 5-link is okay as well. We did buy a wand. This is a 300 LE DPS wand that we bench crafted on attack speed. We still have our like level 15 gloves. This is like a level 15 belt, but it's level 64 because we crafted lightning and chaos on it. Some like level 12 boots, shitty rings, whatever helm, Carnage Heart, which usually is 1 chaos, and then just like a generic shield with block and attack speed and life on it. Nothing fancy. So this would be T16 Jungle Valley, C Goldfish, 10 to 15 C for a corrupted 6-link day 1. Jungle Valley. Now, we're not going to make this delirious. This is not performance. This is just an example of what the build is capable of. And so, we only have 2.4k life, so we would be very squishy versus like a Soul Eater rare or something like that. Obviously, we have to be a little bit more cautious because we're level 69, fresh out of the campaign, running a T16 Jungle Valley. But, as you can see, performance of the build is very good. Now let's go over the POB for our Elementalist KB Wander. Now this video was originally created before the live reveal, and so we do have this set up for Kinetic Blast. However, you could use Kinetic Rain on this build instead of Kinetic Blast, and everything should remain the same. This is going to be set up with loadouts Acts 1 through 10. We have items set up here as just items to look for that have these affixes on them. You want a wand with some flat damage on it, a flat damage implicit, and then ideally some attack speed on it. We want a shield that has block, attack speed, and life. We want some gloves that have some sort of flat damage on it as well as life. We'd like an amulet with flat damage and life. We'd like rings with flat damage and life. Everything else is just going to be defensive stats on your build, but looking for these affixes will get you in a good position to get through the campaign quickly. As far as skills go, Act 1, we're going to be running Kinetic Bolt with Flame Dash and Flame Wall. You will need to mule a Duelist for Sniper's Mark, Decoy Totem, Blood and Sand, and Shield Charge. Blood and Sand is only used in Act 1 as a way to boost your Shield Charge damage, as you can do a significant amount of clear just with Shield Charge in Act 1. In Act 2, we're going to be moving over and taking Kinetic Bolt with Momentum and either Volley or added lightning damage, depending on whether or not it's single target. Again, this could be replaced with Kinetic Rain, Flame Dash for movement, Flame Wall for additional damage, Arctic Armor, Tempest Shield, and Clarity for auras, Sniper Mark for Curse on the target, Decoy Totem for survivability, and a Shield Charge for movement as well. In Act 3, we're still using Kinetic Bolt or Kinetic Rain, Flame Dash, we have added Spell Slinger with Sniper's Mark and Flame Wall. This is a significant cost to our mana reservation, but Sniper's Mark on Spell Slinger is going to allow us to Sniper's Mark white mobs, blue mobs, and rare mobs, whereas Mark on Hit is only rare or unique. And so this is a tremendous bonus to our clear and our damage. Arctic Armor and Tempest Shield for additional auras, Decoy Totem Still for survivability, and Shield Charge as well for mobility on our character. Act 4 allows us to move over to Kinetic Blast, taking advantage of Fork, Return Proj, and Sacred Wisps. With Fork and Sacred Wisps, we do want to take advantage of Tornado, which allows Kinetic Blast to automatically fork off of the Tornado, giving us a significant boost to our clear at a small loss in our single target as long as we are positioned poorly. If we're positioned well with the boss close to us inside the outer range of the Kinetic Blast on Return Proj, then it'll be a net gain to your single target damage over the Flame Wall as well. Now you can still run Flame Wall as a self-cast for additional damage on bossing if you'd like to, but I've found that this is more than enough damage and not necessary. Arctic Armor and Tempest Shield are our auras. We do take advantage of our golems, so we have Ice Golem, Flame Golem, Lightning Golem, and Stone Golem. These were nerfed relative to what they were last season, but the nerf to the buffs is like 18%. So it's not a significant enough nerf to worry anything about it. These are still absolutely monumental layers of damage and defense. Decoy Totem still remains as a way to position bosses. Shield Charge for mobility as well. Now, Act 5 through Act 10, all these are going to be relatively unchanged. You're going to be running the same set of skills, the same set of links on these. The build is pretty much set at this point, and so you're not going to be making any changes other than potentially adding links to your Kinetic Blast. You can add in Elemental Weakness for some additional damage once you do get Whispers of Doom, and you'll go down and see no real changes to the skills outside of that. Now, as far as our passive tree goes, in Act 1, we're going to be moving up and taking Arcanist Domain, Practical Application, Heart and Soul, and over to Deep Wisdom. In Act 2, we're going to move up and take Wand Slinger. Wand Slinger is going to be important because it also gives us access to Intelligence added as accuracy rating, allowing us to avoid having to worry about any accuracy rating through the campaign. And then Prodigal Perfection for some additional spell damage that scales with our mana and our intelligence gains. We're going to move up to Wand Mastery and take Fusillade. We're also going to take Mana Mastery to help with our reservation. In Act 4, we're going to move over and take Golem Commander and get access to our golems and finish out our Wand Mastery with Elder Power up here. In Act 5, we're going to move over and take Cruel Preparation for more life and Instability for more power charges. We are getting power charges on kill right now. We get power charges on kill here. And then we have Leech as our mastery over here. In Act 6, we are moving up and taking Disciple of Forbidden, again giving us more chances to get power charges on kill, as well as just increasing our damage and our crit multi with the power charges we have. Act 7, we're going to take Throat Seeker for additional crit and crit multi, and then Arcane Sanctuary for additional spell damage and defenses, as well as Whispers of Doom, which gives us access to an additional curse on top of our Sniper's Mark. In Act 8, we're going to move over and take our next Wand Mastery, which gives us power charge generation on bosses, as well as Prism Weave for damage, and we're going to start moving towards Arcane Guarding. Act 9, we're going to go ahead and finish out Arcane Guarding. And then in Act 10, we're going to move over and take more life and energy shield through Written in Blood. And this is going to be sufficient to get us through the campaign on the character, as well as all of our early, mid, and late mapping. Your Ascendancy nodes are listed up here as well. The Ascendancy nodes in order are going to be Shaper of Storms first, then Shaper of Winter, Liege of Primordial first, then Shaper of Storms, and then Shaper of Winter as you need them. But you'll see these as you go through the acts as to which Ascendancy nodes you need to be taking as you are completing the campaign. If you have any questions over any of this, please drop a comment down below or come by Twitch. I'm happy to answer them. Thank you all very much for watching. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed this content, please like, subscribe, drop a comment down below. As a reminder, I'm happy to offer one-on-one support for any of my builds. Just come by Twitch during any live stream time. Thank you very much. Peace.